Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Heat. What does her looks have to do with him harassing her?
Listen, y'all be getting booty ties. Y'all be like, ooh, booty, and you just harass. Like, y'all don't even think straight. You just think booty.
How do you differentiate those? All right, I love the dick, or I love the thing that's attached to it.
All vaginas are beautiful.
They are.
Hey, like back in the day, people like when you displayed like being a nerd or stuff, like why are you acting white? What?
And I always hated
Why
it.
is nerdiness associated with caucasity? I don't understand.
Me personally, I just keep my comments to myself, bro.
Girl, I seen you in all of them comments, man. I seen you sending memes and you going like this. I
Somebody was.
Childhood trauma, okay?
Somebody was tromboning a flute on the side. That's what they were doing.
Wow, they are really dogging me in these comments. They said I'm definitely more of a future than a Russell Wilson. Yo, y'all are foul as shit. They already talking about sensational. Look, I'm about to have my hoochie daddy shorts on all summer. Look, I'm ready.
Look, let me see
Oh
some
my
eyes.
god.
Real hot boy shit, okay? Real hot boy shit.
I
Boy.
guess.
I
Anyway.
invite listeners myself. They could hear me.
Ladies
do
and
it if you pay
gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to The Real Heat, Season 2, Episode 2. Tonight's episode is called Cream, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. Of course, we talking finances, we talking wealth, accumulating it, building it, investing it, and all the other good stuff. Since those two sour pussies over there don't want to introduce themselves, let me go ahead. I am the one and the only Tommy Bars. And of course,
they already going in on you, Tommy.
we have a very
They said put some
special
shoes on.
guest, a very, very special guest, a man very, very dear to me. I've known this man for over a decade. This man is literally a brother to me. Introduce yourself, my good sir.
Hey, what's going on? Appreciate y'all having me. I'm Cedric Scott Jr. I am, a father, husband, an educator, author, the founder of Edu and the creator of Melanated Mathematics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
Tommy, our chat is real concerned of where your sleeves are at.
up their ass, because I already know who it is. I didn't have to look at the chat to know who it was. I knew it was Spots. Spots is the only person I know who comes here every week faithfully to troll. Like, he ain't got nothing else better to do. But anyway, so
water.
before we get started, we have an icebreaker. So,
What's the icebreaker?
oh, it's a surprise. It's a surprise. I didn't want to give it to y'all early. So,
Everybody show their bank accounts? What's up? Not playing.
no, we're not. We're not doing that. So, this week, one of our co-hosts reached out to us about music. So, how many people in the chat actually know about music notes and musical staffs?
Not me.
What are the lines and spaces? Do y'all know
I
the mnemonic way to remember it?
What the fuck am I reading? Am I reading in between? Am I reading on? What's the fucking circle? What's the line?
So,
There's 5 lines and 4 spaces.
Doesn't make sense.
The lines are, you can remember Elvis's guitar broke down Friday. Elvis's G, B,
Look.
D, F.
Why can't it just say A, B,
there
C,
are
fucking D?
7 notes
It is.
in music. A,
But
B,
it
C,
can
D, E, F, G.
Why doesn't it just have the letter inside the little fucking circle?
Carnella says she knows them all. Carnella says she knows them all.
Because the circle isn't always a circle. Sometimes it's filled in. Sometimes it's an eighth note. Sometimes it's a half note. Sometimes it's a whole note. Sometimes it's a quarter note. It's not always filled in. Plus, it gets really like just a lot to look at when you have a bunch of notes on the paper. Especially when you
It's
get
a
into
lot to look
30-second
Ma'am,
notes.
you didn't have a lot of
16th
you didn't have a
notes.
lot to look at, ma'am. But
It really wasn't.
I will admit, somebody explained to you extremely lazily about what all that stuff meant.
She's gonna have a whole meltdown when they start learning rhythms.
So,
Oh my God.
for those who don't know,
full
there are
meltdown.
7 musical notes: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and there's variations of those notes: flats, sharps, yada yada.
And there's different clefs too.
Yes, it's treble clef, bass clef. I think it's another clef. Regardless, notes
Alto.
fit on the lines and the spaces, and they all go in alphabetical order: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it starts back over at A.
Yes.
So honestly, if you can just remember where one note is on a treble or bass clef, you can figure out what the rest of them are.
Which, fun fact, and they tell you this when you first learn music, is the treble clef is also known as the G clef. If you notice the little dot in the middle of, like, when it's like a little thing and then it circles around, it's on the G line. And then the bass clef is called the F clef because their little dot thing is on the F line for bass, if you didn't know that.
That's it.
So the G clef and the F clef. And then you have the alto clef, which your son will never learn, which we call the C clef because it's on the C line.
Yeah, nobody ever used that for.
I do. I play
Regardless.
viola.
Okay, you did. Most people don't. But I bring that up because apparently I've learned a lot of people do not know about musical notes and all that other good stuff. But regardless, that's our icebreaker, and let's move on to the remainder of the show. So,
It's gonna call me out like that, huh? That's fucked
sorry.
up.
I'm sorry. It was hilarious.
That's why I make more money than you, Tommy.
That's fine. That is A-okay.
I ain't got a no
That
notes.
don't mean
Where's the notes
nothing
doing for me
to
right
me,
now
man.
in that bag, honey? Huh?
My shit freezing.
That make you feel good about yourself?
Just a little bit, since you want to pick on me.
All right. Anyway, so let's start off with saving and investing. The reason I say that's because a lot of how do I say this without sounding I know like a lot of people in my family, the older people believe that the best way to deal with your money when you have it is to save. Us growing up now and seeing how money can be so fluidly put into other things that can make money, we're realizing now that the best way to use your money when you have excess of it is to invest it into something. If you know anything about banks and stuff, when you put into a savings account, that money is pretty much they're using it to invest in bank. And that is why banks are able to pay you interest and do all this stuff by taking the money that you put into it and investing in something else.
Why are we starting at savings? Why aren't we starting at income?
I mean, because
You got to have money to make money, so why aren't we starting there?
okay.
Let's talk about how they kind of set us up for. Well, I guess we'll get into the savings because they kind of set us up for failure of even trying to even establish the savings. To be honest, but we gonna get there.
I mean, everybody knows how to initially make money. I mean, it's easy ways and it's hard ways. There's short ways.
You can't make that assumption though.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't think you can make that assumption. You can't really make that assumption that everybody knows how to make money. Outside of a job.
I was gonna say everyone knows the one basic way to make money, and that's a job. But there are other ways to make income. Okay, Jameson, since you wanna poke at that.
What's up?
Hello?
I mean, I was getting more at when I said income, I was getting more at like when I sat here and was like, I make more than you, Tommy. Like, not a lot of people talk about what their income is. You say, oh, money in excess, excessive money or extra money you can save and this, that, and there. Well, what's extra money to you versus extra money to me?
Extra money.
Like extra money to one person may be, oh, I have extra $100. Extra money to another person is, oh, I got an extra $5,000. It's not the same.
I mean, it's all in perspective. I mean, like I said, nowadays we have things like Stash. Stash is a good app for if you want to invest in smaller numerals. A lot of times, you'll look at stock markets and stuff, and you'll see like, oh, like Apple may be 100 something for one stock. And what you can do with things like Stash is instead of investing, the full price for that stock, you can put in, a couple dollars here. And what they do
It's not
is,
going to do much for you.
huh?
Continue. Go
I
ahead.
mean,
Explain.
yeah, like, for somebody who can pay for that full stock of Apple, is like, oh, you're only putting a couple dollars here, like you ain't gonna make much. But for those who don't have, an excess of income in $5,000, they may only have an extra 100. It's still an option. It's always still an option. Never look at, what you can and can't invest is too small and too big, because perfect example, Moderna back in 2000. I remember when I first heard about it, I think Moderna was at like 16. I didn't jump on it until it got to like 32. And at one point, Moderna hit like, I think 300. My dumb ass, so my share in Moderna at like 180, but I think there was a point where it got up to like $300.
What's the most you made on stocks, Tommy?
In total, I think about 500.
I made $400. I'm sorry, I made $600 in the last month on mine. So this is why I say doing small stocks, like, yeah, sure, you're making something, but
I mean, something's still
you're
better
making the
than
pennies on
nothing.
the pennies on the dollar. But then again, you're also tying that money up too in somewhere that's not making you money. So why tie it up somewhere that's not making you anything if it's not worth that amount in that investment?
So what would your suggestion be then?
I didn't say that.
If someone only has, an extra, like you said, $100 a month, what would y'all suggest as the best effort? I mean, the best way to invest it?
Invest it into yourself. Why would you invest it into a stock market? Why would you invest it in somewhere else, pennies on the dollar? Invest it into yourself.
Explain.
Elaborate.
That's fair. All right.
Elaborate.
I mean, like you. So in your case, you're wanting to get this stream going and having all these things that potentially make you money in the long run. Why would you put the $100 in a stock when you may need a membership to such and such to put stuff on Spotify to start that avenue? Why would you put money in the stock market, a little $100 to make pennies on the dollar, when you can spend the money to getting more equipment that you may need, or to potentially hiring somebody that can market and get you going? So what I'm saying is investing in yourself versus saying, hey, the stock market for $100 a month is where it's at to make money.
So I'm going to bring up what Predator said, because this is exactly what I was going to say. Investing into yourself only really works if you have the talent. So like, I have the talent to stream, I have the talent to run this show, but let's say you had nothing.
That's not to be talent.
I mean, okay. So let me ask you this then.
I want to hear his, because he agrees with me. I want to hear his. What's up?
I disagree.
Wait, I didn't finish what I was saying though.
I feel, but I'm just saying, but
he's our guest. Shut up, Tommy. He's our guest.
This
Shut
is
up,
the point
Tommy.
that I'm making right now. If you have nothing in yourself,
respectfully, I slightly disagree. But go ahead, finish your point.
Okay, so in my case, yes, I invest into myself because I need to invest in the equipment needed to do this, and this, that, and third, and so and so. But if you are making this income and your income is able to take care of all your needs and you have nothing, I mean, of course, there's always things you can invest in. But if you just have money sitting around, you don't have nothing to do with it, why not invest it? If I have put my money to where everything I need to put it into, and I had this extra $100, I'm like, I don't have nothing to do with it. Why not put it somewhere where it can turn into more?
So you're saying you can't multiply your money based on what you do?
I'm not saying I can't. In my case, yes, I could take that $100 and turn it into something more. But for somebody who just wants to put it somewhere where they don't have to do anything with it and let it ride into something more, why not?
Fair. I mean, at the same time though, you gotta, guess you're going to put it into something else, like another business. That's the whole thing. Is like you're still invested in a
Yo,
business.
Spots, chill out, bro. Chill out, yeah.
So, and you buy, whether you buy a stock, a share of
words,
Apple,
come on, man. Come on, man.
or
Grow up, bro.
Oh man,
He wild in the chat. Come on, bro.
I was saying, are we just
You
gonna
gotta
pick
ignore-
on Tommy tonight?
That's Spots. That's what he
Damn.
does. Because Spots has nothing better to do. He need to
Yeah,
watch his
he's-
language though.
he's another brother though. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I was
so
thinking, y'all
there's,
got suspended from chat.
there's other avenues though. Like, because a lot of people say like, oh, it takes money to make money. I think that's like partially true too. Because there's a lot of ways that you can go about using like your it don't have to be talent. Also, like honestly, consistency is going to beat out talent, right? Like, I forget what the phrase or the whatever the saying is, but it's like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Right.
So if I do the same thing every single day and I get to the spot before the genius gets there, or before the amazing talent gets there, and I secure that spot, it don't matter how good they are, I already beat them. So I mean, and there's also other avenues too, to where you don't necessarily have to have money up front to create things that can generate some type of revenue. Like
What?
like Casey. No, go ahead.
I mean, I was just reading the chat. I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish. 'Cause I'm gonna go on to this whole talent thing.
We're
'Cause-
also not talking just about talent or business, but when I say invest in yourself, talents, businesses, education.
That's where I was gonna get into. Like investing in yourself might not be more so just talent or entrepreneurship. It could be investing in education. Like myself, I'm investing in trying to get a master's degree. I'm investing in getting like endorsements on my teaching license and things like that. So I can, because once I do get those things, I'll be making what, 20 grand more than what I'm making now.
Right. And that's another aspect of it, right? Like there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways to go about it. Even things as simple as like this T-shirt I'm wearing. Like I created this. I didn't have to put anything up front. Like it was created on a drop shipping platform. So there's stuff that you can do outside of that, and also attach it to whatever it is that you're trying to build. And at the same time, for me, to be completely honest, I don't necessarily view it in one lane or the other, like this or that. I need and in all. Like I'm not trying to invest in one thing or just be in one sector or one industry. Like because on a day-to-day basis, I actually operate in all of them anyway. Right? You're in real estate, whether you own the house that you live in or not, because you're paying rent. So if there's any type of way that you can get to a point of owning that, then great. If not, I mean, you could. There's other avenues. Same thing with stocks, business, all that same stuff. So, I mean, to that point, like I agree with the whole talent aspect, but it's kind of like how they say knowledge is power. That's not complete, right? Because knowledge isn't power. The application of knowledge is power. You're just sitting on talent, you sitting on information, and you don't actually put it into practice. You're just wasting it. You just got a bunch of facts in your head, or you just can sing really well, but what's the point? You're not going to put nothing behind it. There's no effort, which means that it's not going to go anywhere anyway. So it's not going to generate anything. You're just wasting the gift.
Okay.
All right, well, that's all for tonight's show. That wraps it all up.
All right. So
Summed in one sentence. Hey, bye.
So last night, me and a couple of other brothers from college were having a discussion, and one thing we talked about was how as we are going through school, we're not taught about things like filing taxes, and I brought up things such as like assets and liabilities. Like a lot of times, not even a lot of times, like it's gotten better, and I noticed through my sister because she was taking a class when she was in high school and it was teaching about some of this stuff. But like growing up, I had no interaction whatsoever, in my education system about filing taxes or balancing a checkbook or any of that.
None. They teach personal finance now, though.
I mean, yeah.
Michelle,
I mean now we
don't use them. So what's the point?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
you could have had access to your money if you had a check, lady. Just saying. Let's bring that back from the summertime, okay?
Wait, what? What happened?
When she didn't have
When I
her
didn't have
card
my
and
debit
she couldn't get
card.
money out. I said if she had a check, she could have wrote herself a check or wrote her sister a check. The hell? Could have wrote somebody a check, cashed it, and you would have had money in hand. Always got to think of other ways to get money. Access to your money. There's more than one way to access your money.
So speaking of investing in yourself, Predator says, take that spare $100 and put it into therapy.
Yeah, Tommy,
I
you
mean,
need to.
Therapy is more than $100.
it is.
Just saying.
Yeah, sessions. A
I
session
could
now
afford
is.
therapy. Best believe I'd be in there every week faithfully.
Boss says, but do you balance a checkbook now? No, I don't balance a checkbook because I don't have one. I didn't learn at a young age how to use a checkbook, so of course, why I'm not going to use checks now. We got plastic for all that
E-check.
now. We got plastic
And there's a
and
lot of
banking
things.
apps.
There's a lot of things that weren't taught and that aren't taught. Like you said, checks, how to write a check, how to balance a checkbook,
Yeah,
how to claim, how to get around through the year without having a shit ton taken out and still balancing it at the end of the year. Like,
Yes, spots. That's what we're saying.
yeah.
We aren't using one because we don't know how to fucking use it. I don't. That's why I never got a check or a checkbook because I honestly don't know how to balance that shit, and I'm not gonna look stupid trying to act like I do. So, direct deposit, debit, ATM withdrawals, money orders, whatever. I'll be slow about it, but my bills get paid.
the bank app does it for you. You ain't got to do it.
Basically.
Technology.
But yeah, like going back to what we were talking about, I brought up how high school pretty much prepares you for college. College prepares you for whatever field
Does
you
it though?
decide to go
Career.
into. Somewhat, but we're not gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into that. But college prepares you for whatever field you want to go into, and then of course you move into the working world. And one of the things, and another thing that they don't tell you about, things like 401ks,
403Bs.
Roth,
You ever
yeah,
heard of
IRA.
yeah, like other things that
it? I have
we
a
aren't
403B.
taught about. Now, of course, you can always go and self-educate or, find someone who will educate you on these things. But these are things that are very important, especially, as you move through life, and it's not taught to us. These are things that we have to
Edward
go out and find out
Jones
ourselves.
does free consultations. Go to Edward Jones. Get you a darn financial planner that can go through all this with you and explain everything. You ain't nothing.
Well, there you go. Edward Jones. I
There
don't know
you
what that is.
go.
But yeah, Edward Jones.
Edward Jones.
Who? Edward Jones?
Shout out to Edward Jones.
So, I know this was one of your big things. So, Jamie, you wanna speak a little bit on your experience with 401ks?
I'm freezing.
Yeah. Do you? Well, here's a question: how many people have them? How many people have a 401k or a Roth IRA
I have a
I have
401k.
a
or
403B.
even a 403b? Okay, I don't know. I don't have that one,
Yeah,
so I don't know
I don't know what
that
that is. I don't know what that one is.
The teacher's
It's something
version
that
of a
teachers
401k.
have. That's all I know. It's part of my retirement plan and
one.
shit.
That's all you know? You don't, girl, you need to
All
know
I
about
know.
your retirement, honey.
I know they would do a whole seminar and thing explaining to me about it, but I struggled to stay awake. So
I can tell you how much I have in my 401k today. Like,
Exact
that,
amount, I could not tell you. Not even going to. Could not tell you the exact amount.
that's the other thing. How
I
many people
know.
actually keep track of their
I know I
money?
matched it by a certain amount. I can't remember how much though.
Honestly, I check every now and then. I couldn't give you an exact, it's not like a thing where like I consistently check it, but like every now and then, I take a look at it, see where it's at.
Do you
What
have
the
more
hell
money
is
in your
that?
401k than your savings, or more money in your savings than your 401k?
I don't have a savings.
Okay.
Why is that?
I know, right?
Because, like I said, I feel like
Mine
there's
is
much better
crazy.
ways I can use my money than to put in the savings account.
So, question is I guess your kind of apprehension about savings accounts, is it because of the basically the lack of interest. You get like
I
0.001%
mean,
or something like
that's
that at most
one
banks.
thing, but it's just like you said, the interest isn't much. I could easily put that money somewhere else and make it turn into more faster than, with a savings account.
I mean, there are other
Or like y'all
variables.
said,
If
I
you're
can
using
invest
a
in myself,
savings
honestly.
account as a way to make money, then that's not how you're supposed to use a savings account.
No, I mean, there's other ways too that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know. In terms of like the savings account, there's actually, I have one, and I mean I use it, but a lot of them are more digital. I think the high yield savings accounts where you can actually get like a full like couple percent. I know that's the one that I've been looking at or been using for a while now. It's I mean, it definitely decreased like over the course of like the past couple of years with COVID and everything, the onset. But I mean, at one point, I think that savings account was getting maybe I don't know somewhere between 3, maybe 4% earn
That's pretty good.
for just
That's
sitting
not
there.
bad.
I mean, so yeah, I would say look into high yield savings accounts because again, like you're not investing in anything really. The money's just sitting there, and it's not the same as most traditional banks. I mean, and in traditional banks, I think they do have them as options, but I think the ones that I've seen mostly are like virtual, basically. So like they
Right.
might not
Yeah.
have physical location. So, but that's a possibility too.
I'm definitely an advocate for savings, a savings account. Not necessarily sitting there and having $20,000 in your savings unless that's for a specific purpose, like setting forth a goal for your savings. Like, I want to buy a house, so I'm gonna throw this in here instead of throwing it in like a Roth IRA, or you can't really pull against your 401k until a certain time without being anyways, all those fucking rules. Like we have a specific goal in mind. I think those are really useful for those in that setting versus saying, I'm just going to leave it into my saving or my checking account until I get it to that much. I mean, you're still getting something out of it more than just leaving it into a checking account until you get to that goal. Plus, it keeps it separate from being able to where a lot of people don't have that self-control to not pull and be like, well, I know my goal was to buy a new car and I need $5,000 down, but I really need a new hard drive because it just broke. You know what I mean? So when it's separate and it's specifically put there, I think that it makes it easier to obtain and reach that goal. And that's how I view savings accounts as.
Okay.
Or a fucking rainy day. Your car breaks down, you didn't intend on that, and you need $1,000. Well, guess what? You got that in your savings account because you don't let it go below $1,000, and you got it, and it doesn't have to come out your checking account. You know what I
Once
mean?
upon
Like,
a time, my savings never went below 1,000, and then hard times hit, and now it's been a struggle just to rebuild it. So I guess and that's a question for y'all in the chat. Like, how does one go about pretty much rebuilding their savings from scratch?
so I did it in 2 years. I had built mine up to almost 15,000 from a lot of like self control and not sacrifices, but like, oh, I really want this, but the want versus the need. And so it's like, oh, I want to go get my nails done, but I don't need to get them done. How much did it cost me to get my nails done? $75. Let me throw that in savings. And that's how you build that up. And you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much and how quickly it comes.
So since we are on the talk of that, how do you feel about cash versus credit? Which one would you rather make big moves with?
Me?
Say that again.
Yeah,
Probably,
you.
Oh, credit.
I would say probably credit.
Credit.
Because credit, I mean, at least cash is fine, but credit leaves a paper trail. You know what I'm saying? Which could, I guess, and I don't know much about finances and all that, obviously. I'm such a millennial, like I'm so millennial. But
Uh-huh.
I would say credit, because I mean, as far as I know, with my little millennial brain, is that you need credit to buy a house, to get a car, to fuck to even buy furniture. Like you need some type of like credit history.
It's
You know?
credit.
Yeah.
It's leverage.
Yeah.
It's leverage. Like basically, if you get like it's a track record. It's like if every time somebody gave you $100, or every time somebody cooked you a meal, you reciprocated and also gave them a meal back, like you're like, oh, okay, I can trust you. So
Right.
that means if I cook for you for a full week, more than likely I'm going to get my full week back. Like that's kind of the basis of the idea of, you know what I
Right.
mean, that the credit. So, and then with that, you're basically building out that trust history. So whenever you go into situations, you might not necessarily even have to have as much cash in some things, you know, as others might, right? I saw something earlier, actually, follow somebody, I think it was like either Instagram or Facebook, and they sell cars, and they posted that they had somebody who was buying a car, had like, I don't know, 10, 15 grand to put down, but they couldn't get them financed. And the only reason why that would happen is because of the issues with credit that I know of. So like it can ultimately kind of hold you back. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you have that credit history, and I can even speak from, you know, perspective of like seeing like my wife and her credit, because I've built mine up now, but hers was like been solid. So honestly, people treat you different
Yeah.
when you go into financial
Yeah.
institutions.
Credit.
You go in to
Credit
buy a
is.
car, like they're nice to you. They're like, "Oh, you got a what?" And they'll run your credit, and then it's like, "Oh, your report came back. Would you like a Fiji water?" Like,
have you ever seen like I've been at a dealership when like somebody had like bad, like they walked in, you know, looking good, like okay, this person, like they got money, and like you could just tell from the way the guy came back after running their credit, like yeah, some ain't showing up right. His whole demeanor changed. This big smile and grin he had on his face gone.
Listen,
Yo,
when I bought my car the other week, went in there, I was looking a hot mess because I wasn't expecting to buy no car. That guy, by the time he ran my credit, came back, all was all of a sudden, oh, hey, beautiful. And I was like, nah, no, don't do that. You was treating me like some average Joe Blow because of what I looked like walking in here. And then you seen the numbers and you was like, okay, no.
yo, no, that is a funny experience. I've definitely seen that before. Even I remember like my sister, she's in real estate, and I remember one day like I was at the house chilling with her, and like the person called. She was like, "Man, I don't even talk to these people, yo. We already ran these stuff right. Like, they not getting financed for this house. They trying to get-" Yo, you can definitely tell the difference when you're working with somebody of like somebody who does and doesn't have good credit. It's funny, but it's not funny. But credit really is key nowadays. Like even if you have the cash, just outright buy something, get the credit. Get the credit. Because
Well, no, not always, because you don't want to get yourself in over your head.
I mean, if you have the
Because you
money to
can
pay
say
for it, you can
that,
just put the money into the credit payments.
listen, I don't know about
I've
y'all.
never owned a credit
I don't
card
know about
before, so I
y'all,
don't know.
but my happy ass went and got an Amazon credit card. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
That's what you messed up. You got an
Says swipe, swipe,
Amazon credit
swipe,
card and
swipe,
probably
swipe,
yeah, right.
swipe. I got the money. I got the money. I'm not worried about it. Swipe, swipe. I get that first bill. $600 is due. What? I got the money, but I don't want to pay the money. The 600 damn
You
dollars
bought
after
the
1 month.
stuff.
After 1 month. So just because credit is the option does not mean go with credit every time, though. No, it doesn't mean, if you got the $1,000 to buy
That
a
goes
new
back to
sofa
discipline.
furniture set, it doesn't necessarily mean, okay, well, let me put it on this credit and open this line. Because also the other thing too is what you got to realize is credit is not just credit and using credit. You have to pay attention to the percentages of the credit you utilize, as well as how many
Mhm.
Oh
lines of
yeah.
credit you have, how many inquiries, because inquiries go
Yeah, they
against
hurt.
you.
They are
So,
a
I
derogatory
mean,
mark.
you could sit here and say, oh, I have the option of credit, but that inquiry to open that credit card at the furniture store is going to hit you back. Now, if you pay it, yeah, you'll get it back, but it's still an inquiry on your report. They don't pay too much attention to it, but it affects it. you having so many lines of credit, but you utilize, I think it's what, 10% is about that safe range that looks good. I think is
You
that
gotta stay under. You gotta stay under 30.
Yeah, stand. Yeah,
30?
yeah,
Okay, well the
You gotta stay under.
10% is kind of that like
yeah.
sweet
Some like
spot.
1/3. You never want to use more than 1/3 credit
So
utilization.
I mean, there's so much to it that goes into, oh, if you got the money, you got the credit, use the credit. Not necessarily. Man, this selection, you are half naked. Over. Give me 1 second.
I mean, I've never owned a credit card. I've always been too scared. But I guess with that whole like being able like having a credit card, it goes back into discipline, I guess. From what
It
I've
does.
seen, and the way I've always been described of like, hey, you should get a credit card, but don't, spend a whole lot of money on it. Maybe spend what you can afford on payments every month just to just build up your credit, whatever. Because the only thing on like my credit report, or first of all, I just had a baby, so some shit of medical bills fucking up my credit and my student loans. So like,
Dispute. Girl, you could dispute so much. Are you kidding me? What?
like right
Dispute. If
now,
you don't dispute it,
after having my
woman.
baby and after insurance, I still owe over $2,000 to the hospital, which
That's rough.
Listen, go to the hospital, and I'm telling you what, they will write it off for their taxes. Excuse me, hospital. This is my income. This is my children. This is what I've made. What do you have? And they will write it off on their taxes and cover your bills, honey. And they might say, $100. Fuck out of here. You ain't paying no hospitals.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
Just
they have
show up
whole tax credits and tax breaks and whole people who donate or they do. Oh my God,
They
y'all are
do.
getting just
They do. But that it
anally
ain't that
raped
easy though.
by
It ain't that
hospitals.
easy.
You're paying hospital bills.
You make it seem like it's just a 1-2 thing. It's a process, a long process that they will stretch out before they decide to give you that leeway.
It doesn't matter. It's worth. Is it not worth it? If you
It's definitely
owe
worth it.
thousands of dollars, is it not worth the little
It's
bit of
definitely
phone
worth
calls?
it.
Is it not worth talking to multiple people? Is it not worth going through the hassle?
Yeah.
That's
And
saving money. That's the same thing as making money. If you're saving it, it's the same thing as making it, honey. Did she say in the hammer?
that's part of it too. Is like a couple of things, right? Like the aspect of people even knowing like about the inquiries. Like you can actually call people whenever you're applying for anything. Just call them and say like, "Hey, is this?" Or even you don't have to call them. Like if you go into a furniture store, for example, you buy a couch, right, and you get finance for it. I've done this for my condo or whatever. And it's like you ask them, is this a hard inquiry or a soft inquiry? It's like, is it a hard pull, soft pull on my credit? They'll tell you. If it's a hard pull, then your credit score is gonna go down. You're gonna get hit, right? So you don't have to wait to go back up. A soft pull is not gonna do too much to you, but there's different types of, you know what I mean?
Honestly, you can pull your own credit and show them, and they don't do an inquiry. Just saying.
But even having people access that, right? Where you go to get your credit report, because you can pull it. What is it? 3 times a year?
3 times a year, or you can use Credit Karma for free, and it updates every single day, actually. But it only gives you 2 out of the 3 reports.
Some places will not like they'll look at it,
Mhm.
but they won't like take that as like the hard facts. Like sometimes they still be like, yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
we need to.
Yeah, I've heard like
That's what he's talking about, the soft and hard.
Yeah, I've heard about like the disputes with Credit Karma in particular, with it not necessarily being completely accurate. So they want you to pull like an actual like full length credit report that they would do, because they pull it from a certain source. But I know that you can access that, I think, like 3 times a year for free.
Yeah, when I got my car last year,
Yeah.
I showed them like my Credit Karma app. It was okay, you look good. Yeah, they pulled it. And I think I was 13 points less than what Credit Karma showed, which still wasn't bad. I still got the car. It didn't change anything. But like I said, Credit Karma will give them an idea where you stand, but they're not gonna take that as
Well, no,
well.
because when you're looking at credit as a whole, you're not looking at one score. You have your Equifax,
Right,
you
and
have your TransUnion, and you
Right.
have your oh God, who's the third one? Oh, I can't remember the third one, but there's three of them. And so some people will take your lowest and some people will average all three.
right. Which is like I said,
Michelle,
one of my
you need to be
13
paying
points.
attention, ma'am. Okay. We'll get you right.
Oh my God, Jamie. FICO. There we go, Spots.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Gold star.
There we go.
Gold star.
Yeah. I don't
Credit
know
is
y'all.
not as simple as people think of having good credit or bad credit or being able to utilize it. It's a freaking, you got to finesse that shit.
I don't know who y'all bank with, but I know my bank allows me to pull my FICO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine too.
Same.
State Employee Credit Union. What's up?
Navy Federal so good to me, yo. So good to me, yo. So good.
That matters too. Banks matter.
So while we are on the topic of credits and all this other good stuff, let's go back to investing again. But this time, let's talk about the NFTs, the cryptos, all these new things that are coming into play. So honestly, I just got into crypto last year, I think it was.
You're losing money on crypto, man. Fuck crypto.
So I'm not gonna lie. Once,
Like the Superdog?
huh,
Like the Superdog?
ma'am? No, cryptocurrency,
You got all kinds of different.
like
Is that some
Bitcoin.
metaverse shit?
What?
Like what the fuck? Is that some metaverse shit? Like what is this?
You never heard of Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, online
There's
monies.
so many. The big one last year
Jesus.
was
Yes, the funny money. Let's
Dogecoin.
go.
Dogecoin
Can the
was the big
digital
one
money
last
turn
year.
into real money?
Listen, that's how they get you, honey. They listen. Listen. That's how they get you.
I don't
It
know.
turns
All of
into
this
internet
sounds
fucking money that equivalates to its own currency. And then when you want to pull it in American dollars, it's a whole different amount.
So let me ask you this thing. Do you buy V-Bucks?
Listen, I
Do you-
don't buy them. I don't buy them. They do not come out of my bank account. I do. It
There's your
doesn't come from my
cryptocurrency. There's your cryptocurrency right there.
account.
fuck is a B-Buck?
Now NFTs,
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie. From what I've seen, those seem like a scam. But if you want to look at cryptocurrency from a more relatable aspect, V-Bucks.
I mean, it's about a utility case, right? Like, so everybody knows about Bitcoin for the most part. It's the most
Right.
popular cryptocurrency. And I think number 2 is probably Ethereum. So with Bitcoin, though, there's actually a use case. I think it was maybe, I don't know why I want to say Brazil. I can't remember which country exactly, but some country actually started using it as actual currency. Like,
Yep.
and they're not the only ones. But what I've seen, which is kind of interesting, I think, related to Bitcoin in particular, is there are actually Bitcoin ATMs in the US. If you go to like certain gas stations,
Yeah.
you can actually like go there and like exchange cash, the US dollar for Bitcoin. The issue is that I think for a lot of people, and what the dispute has really been, and I'm not like a crypto person. Actually, I should have gave a whole disclaimer before I even started talking this whole time. I'm not a financial advisor.
We're all just winging it. It's fine.
I'm doing this for the internet. I don't want people
You
to
already
come
know I
back
don't
to
know
me and be
shit.
like, yo, I bought $17,000 worth of Ethereum. I'm suing. Like, don't do it. But with Bitcoin,
Jeez.
it actually has like a use case, so you can actually use it and exchange it for money. I mean, there's different platforms that you can use. I mean,
Right.
I can speak to what I do or what I'm invested in, but I can personally say I'm not that heavy as far as like so goes. I'm definitely more like equity based, stocks, that type of thing, hard assets like real estate.
Right.
But I mean, I do have some cryptocurrency.
You dabble a little bit. You dabble. Okay.
Yeah.
Losing money in it.
I mean, it's
Fuck
like
crypto.
anything. For me, I think the one thing you got to consider in terms of investing, and I'm also fairly new to investing myself, just like the past few years. But you got to think about, like, first of all, you got to actually define investor or investment. A lot of people right now, especially because we live in a microwave society, they think is an investment is actually a flip, right, or a trade. Like most people don't want an investment; they want a good trade. An investment, you're gonna hold that for
They want it
pretty much
now.
forever.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, but if you want a good trade, I mean, you're gonna buy something today, and next week, next month, you expect that it's gonna go up, and then you're gonna sell it. But if I'm investing in something, I'm actually putting time, money, energy,
Right.
whatever into everything. And this is like it's not just money; it's relationships and stuff like that too, right? But if you're gonna invest in something, that means that you are in it for the long haul. So yeah, you're gonna ride it up, right? The thing is gonna drop. It might come back up, like, but you're going to stay in it, and then ultimately, whenever you know, with any investment, really, what I've learned is you don't lose until you sell, right? If it drops $2,000 and you sell it, you just lost $2,000. But if you're investing
Oh
and you actually believe in
God, don't
something,
sell
it happens.
low. Oh my
So,
God, people.
yeah. I mean, if you
So,
believe in something, then hold on to it. But if you don't believe in it, then why are you buying it?
Buy low, sell high. Please quit doing this, people.
So what
Buy
does that mean,
low,
though? You got to
sell
explain it
high.
to people.
I want to point out some things from the chat. So, hey, Wire Vision with the follow. Appreciate you, bro. Spot says crypto is not regulated by the government, therefore the value is dictated by the people that are using it. That's also not a hard number of how much crypto there is. Predator said cryptocurrency should be viewed exactly like the stock market, except it doesn't move up and down based on a company's performance. He also said to a degree, you can look at the charts, the movement of the price over a given time, and buy low, sell high, but its value isn't stable, so it's a risk. Just some things I
People
want
have
to
to
point out
look
from the chat.
into you got to look into like what like federal agencies and stuff are actually starting to do
Yeah,
in terms of their like crypto allocations, because actually a lot of those institutions are actually beginning to invest in Bitcoin. Bitcoin in particular, not like all the
yeah,
other crypto,
yeah.
but
Not
like
all of them.
people are actually, because that there's that whole, I guess, that argument of like decentralized currency, but there's something that has a use case and it has value to other people, and it's, you know what I mean, it's been moving, and
Right.
Bitcoin is like the one thing that's grown like over like
They're
thousands
gonna
of
figure out how to
percent.
tax it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're going to try to. You got to figure out how to, because they're not just going to
To
let
be
you just get
honest.
money and just be free
Mm-hmm. And
flowing.
they're gonna
Like,
figure out how to tax it.
You know what's crazy? So, because I know Spots is here, and Wire.
IRA
If Wire is who I think he
and
is,
IRA.
Luke Mon told me my sophomore year about Bitcoin, and y'all know we ain't paying no attention on what's up. He was like, "Guys, buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the future." It's. I was like, "Man, Luke Mon, go ahead,
be a
somewhere, man."
millionaire.
Could have been a fucking millionaire one listening right now, bro.
And I mean, the other thing to consider too, though, is you can not necessarily buy crypto or Bitcoin on in the market, like on the stock market, but you can actually invest in holdings that have it.
Really, this
Right.
stock's boring, huh?
Right.
The Bitcoin Trust.
Listen, I'm gonna own land on the moon before I own some damn Bitcoin. And guess what? I own land on the moon, honey.
She just wanted to add that in so
Right.
bad.
Right.
Oh my god. And she found her way, because we were talking about owning property, so she's like, I have property on the moon.
I
Her
guess we
talking
gotta
about
talk about real
basketball,
estate.
I was talking about this damn moon property.
What made you buy? We're not even gonna get
What it
into
bought
that.
for you or something?
So
He said, what made you want to buy property on the moon? Want it bought for you?
Cause fuck all y'all.
that
What's the
doesn't,
moon?
doesn't answer anything.
Man, when Earth is uninhabitable and they start building moon domes, you gonna wish you had property on the moon, goddammit.
Right?
I promise you, some company is going to take your land on the moon and not give a fuck about what you own up there.
Listen, I'll fight them.
Life,
I will
liberty,
fight
and
them.
pursuit of property was in the original, what was it, Declaration of Independence, John Locke's letter? I don't even remember. One of them shits.
Ma'am, aren't you a teacher?
English, motherfucker, English. I co-teach English and I have a degree in music. What do you want from me?
Got
You
it.
want to go to the moon with me?
You got it. This one is a little more personal. So, everyone has always had ups and downs of finances part of life. Explain how one of your down periods financially has affected how you look at finances now.
One of them.
I mean, all of it if you
You
want.
mean you mean 0 to 24? What we talking?
Up
What
until
we
this
talking
last
about?
year, what?
What are we talking about right now?
Look,
Oh my God.
I don't know. There was a period, and I'm not gonna lie, I things ain't where it should be right now. But there was a period where like it was literally just fall into a hole, climb out, fall into a hole, climb out, fall into a hole, climb out. I finally got to a point in my life where I finally climbed into the hole. Like I was actually like building upward. There was no hole anymore. And then
She-devil.
yeah,
Terrible.
yeah, man.
Horrible. Women will fuck up your money. Stay away from them.
So
Michelle, men will fuck up your money. Stay
Jamie's
away from
advice
them.
for the nights is
What happened to my sister?
disregard winches, accumulate wealth. That is Jamie's advice for the night. That is Jamie's advice for the night. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely like, and this some people don't talk about, but like you can really have PTSD from being broke. No,
You can,
like
you can, but I think it also depends on you too, though, because like, I remember when it was so bad that I was grateful for shampoo. I was grateful for toothpaste. I was just like, oh my gosh,
right,
a tank of gas. Every single time I got a tank of gas, I was like, oh my God, thank you, God. Thank you so much. Into the
right.
next
That's
tank.
what I got right
Like,
now.
and so, I mean, I could have PTSD from that, but it's also how you work through that and cope with it and turn it into something other than.
I mean, I think I guess maybe I'm thinking a little bit too deep about it, but you like one of the first things you said when we first got on here was like talking about it was like I think you began going down the route of like saving, investing, or whatever. But like with the PTSD thing, like that's what happened with a lot of our elders and what I mean, older people, where they like either put their money into like the stock market or something like that, right? They had the whole
Yes.
lost everything, or
Couldn't come back.
As far as like real
Mhm.
estate, people lost their houses. So people like at this point, people now kind of like to what you were saying before about the whole saving aspect of it. People are going to harbor their money because they're not gonna get duped
Let it.
again. Like you're not gonna get me again.
Let it.
I'm gonna put my money
You
back
can't
into the
put all your
market.
eggs in one pot, in one basket. You just can't.
I mean, but you gotta also
I
realize
get the
too,
PTSD thing.
with like our
I get that.
ancestors, like they didn't have the financial knowledge that we have now for free. Like you can really go online and self-educate yourself entirely. Like they didn't have internet, they didn't have none of it. So it was like, oh well, people are saying that this is what I should do, and they get burned. And it's like, like some people lost entire like life savings.
Retirements.
Like we are so fortunate now because it's easy to get financial advice. Now, not all of it is good advice. You got to make sure the person you're listening to knows what they're talking about. But it's so easy now to get financial advice. And we actually brought this up last night. There's a podcast called Earn Your Leisure. And I know like I watch them from time to time, and they have a thing called Market Monday. Sarah brought this up. And like they really go
every week
in depth.
Market Monday.
Market Mondays.
Yes. Every week.
Okay.
And yeah, they are really solid on ways to manage your wealth. So we are fortunate now to have so many just so many resources that, like I said, a lot of our ancestors didn't have.
Yeah.
to that, well, to their credit though, I don't necessarily think that everybody was just financially ignorant. They
No,
lost all
of
that
course
money.
not.
Like I feel like people like invested in things that made sense, and I think it was just the market was just trash. Like it just tanked, and it was like everybody lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you were or maybe on the inside and you had something additional, but I think it wasn't I don't know if it was necessarily just like a lack of information at that point. I feel like the people who were putting their money into investing things, they might have even, I mean, I don't know, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. It could have even been like people's retirement accounts, which is supposed to be like safe. I don't know exactly all the breakdown in certain aspects of it, but you know, I mean, you think that you're in a vehicle that's going to make sense, right? But then the inevitable happens. But I don't know, that's the whole thing. I think if you do that,
Or you learn.
yeah, but you got to be able to,
Because if those things don't happen, then we don't learn. And I mean,
but you got to be able to ride it back up. Like I think a lot of things happen where everything dropped, people lost everything, and then they weren't able to recoup and actually be there for the rebound. Like I mean,
yeah.
we've had 2 negative quarters, so I mean, technically, we're actually in a recession right now.
Yeah.
That's going
I just
that definition.
I just bought, so I'm on the up. That's how I made $600 in 1 month.
Wait, don't you mean that you bought it on the down?
Yeah, I said that's why I'm on the up.
Oh, you said you're on the. I was
I'm
gonna say
on
my
the
bad.
up.
My bad. I heard that wrong.
Yeah, no, like I know exactly what you mean. My step-up dad, he went through that. He just passed a year ago, but he went through that where his retirement and everything that was hit real bad. He was 60, 65, 60, something like that. 60, something, I don't know. But and that was something that he would talk about, is how he would talk about how they lost so much money from that and wasn't able to recoup. And then you know, given his conditions as to how he passed, he just blew the rest of his money because he knew he only had a certain amount of time to live. But anyways, you know, he's not seeing it now because he's not here anymore.
Right.
So I mean, you do have those cases too where you don't even have the opportunity to learn or to recoup.
True. So I want to touch on a few more things because we are getting close to the end of the show. Creating generational wealth. What are you doing specifically to create generational wealth? Since everyone in here are parents.
I remember what I wanted to say, and I'm so glad you brought that up. I wanted about the credit thing. I wanted to say, just for those who don't know, most major credit cards, you can add your child at the age of 16 onto your credit card and start them with good credit.
Yes.
Do not give them the credit card. Do not give them access to utilize a credit card, but you continue to use it until they're 18, and then they will start off with good credit.
So there are workarounds for that too. I know I was talking about Stash earlier. Now I'm gonna talk about Chime. So Chime has a it's pretty much like a debit card that counts as a credit card, but you can only spend what you add to the card. So if you put $100 on the card,
revolving line of credit, or you utilizing your own.
So there are ways to give your child a credit card without giving them a credit card. It's a safe option.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but there's also the with savings and stuff too. Instead of maybe a savings account for your kids, I mean, obviously my kids have a savings account. They also have what do they call that here? It is a
custodial account.
It's an educational fund. I forget what they. Yeah. No.
I don't know if you're talking about because Aria has one.
It's got like a C or something, like a five. I don't know what it is, but I forget.
No, that's definitely a type of document.
This is something separate that I opened on my own. That generally it's actually through freaking Virginia. We go through Virginia's channels actually instead of here because ours are a lot worse than Virginia's. So but anyway, ways, that will. So I mean, that's something else that I think a lot of people should probably think about as well too. And God, I wish I could remember. I don't know a lot about it. I just did it, so can't speak too much. But it's got really great benefits. It's amazing.
The 529 college savings plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
They have it.
Um,
It varies because you set it up. It's state based. You
right.
have like basically
Yeah.
residential wise, like you set it up for the state. Because I have one. For my son as well. So yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And it's
But
like they can use it until they're like what 26,
yeah,
and
well,
if they don't use it, they can cash it out, but they have to pay the taxes.
there's different stipulations for it, but
Yeah.
primarily it's
Yeah.
supposed to be used for education.
Yeah. Well, they can if they don't use it for education for here, if they don't use it for education by 26, they can switch it to their solely their names, and they can switch it to a different type of account. They just have to pay the taxes on it. And then they can have that instead of so it's not lost if you don't use it on education.
Hmm.
So on top of that, what we just spoke on, I also have custodial accounts for both of the boys, and I have stock purchases on that for them as well. Um, actually, I'm just trying to get them the head start that I wasn't really given. I mean, I didn't have it bad, but I definitely could have had it better. And so, I was telling Say last night, like, um, the money that is being set aside for them, they can use it for school. If not, it's something that they can use to better the future, whatever it is they decide to do, whether it be start a business or anything. Just giving them the means to not have to feel stressed or pushed to work toward one thing because that's like the only way they see success.
Yeah, I have one too for my son. I started investing for him when he was 10 months. And I buy for him, every month. I buy myself shares, I buy him shares. So it's set to I think roll to him as far as the custodial exchange. And he's I think 21. But yeah, so the basis for that is pretty much setting up like a retirement account for an infant. And actually, as a matter of fact, TJ, I didn't mention I
Wow.
got on my website, I did an 8-minute video of how to set one up. I don't
Yes,
tell anybody
sir.
what to buy or anything like that, but it's free.
Okay.
It's a free 8-minute video just showing you the process because
Drop
it's
that
real
link
simple.
in the chat
Yeah.
to his website.
Let me see if I can get to it real quick.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
if you
pretty sure
go
Ari has
on my
more money than
website
all of us
under
combined.
I'm
Because
sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was saying my daughter, my 6-year-old, probably has more money than all of us combined right now. Because I know her dad started something when the moment we found out we were having a girl. Like he started investing in this baby. I will give that to him. That is something he has always done for our daughter. Know what I'm saying? Like by the time like she gets to 18 or wants to go to school, whatever, she should want for nothing. And she's gonna have a pretty good foundation for when she does step out on her own.
Well, then teach her money management because it don't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how much money you invest. It doesn't matter if you do not have good money management skills. Gone. Won't
Yeah.
matter.
Very true.
Done.
I need to start one for baby boy here.
I mean, and the good thing about it too is like you're talking about, especially investing in like in the stock market or whatever. You open one of these accounts, and I know you were talking about it earlier. I think it's Jamie. You're talking about the more so like the ETF route, right? Like investing in a basket of stocks, right? So there's, of course, I think a lot of people don't necessarily know this as much, but you can invest in like single stocks. Like I can buy like one share of Apple for I think it's like 160 something right now, or I can invest in an ETF, which is an exchange traded fund, which is it's basically you got like a whole bucket with stocks in it, and you invest in that,
Yeah.
and it might be the same price, right? But you're investing in 100 companies at one time, and you can do that with like the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies. They have an ETF, and then you can also invest in like different sectors. So you're really heavy into like technology, like
Yep.
there are technology ETFs. If you're
Medical
really big
field,
into medical field, consumer
medtech.
discretionary, Amazon, all that stuff, like they have different ones for everything. Even like marijuana, they all got their own stocks in ETFs too. So and it actually kind of like the crypto basis too, like the what do they call it? Fintech, financial technology. You can invest directly in, a lot of those companies too, like PayPal, Square, stuff that we use on a regular basis. You can, buy, and those are actually going to be a lot cheaper, in most cases than the actual like single stock, and then you run less risk because let's say, Apple itself goes down 50%. If you're holding an ETF and Apple is only 10% of that whole pot,
Right.
and that whole ETF, like what you own, is not going to drop so much because Apple's only a small part, rather than just owning just
Risk,
the
high
single stock.
reward.
You say?
High risk, high reward.
Yes.
Go big or go home.
Speaking of generational wealth, get a life insurance plan, people. Get a life insurance plan. Because I'm
That's
telling
one
you,
I'm like, about.
there is nothing worse than your family having to struggle to build from where you had your own debt. I've seen families
My family won't.
go through it. In your case, yeah,
All
but that's you don't
all
count
my
for
debt is
everyone,
covered.
man.
They'll have money after everything.
How many times do you see somebody pass away and they have a GoFundMe account?
Won't be needed here.
Happens a lot.
See, that's the one thing. Insurance. Oh man, that's one of the bills I absolutely hate. I feel like I'm just like throwing money away.
Everyone hates it.
I guess it kind of depends on what kind of policy you have too. If you got like a term
Man.
policy, if you can outlive your term and you've been putting money into it and you won't ever see it, then maybe. Term policies are going to be like,
Yeah.
of course. But if you
Yeah.
got, the universal life or whatever that's going to actually pay out the death benefit whenever you go, like, I don't know. That's the way I see it. I view
Listen,
that.
I'll put that into somewhere that they will be the beneficiary on. Okay.
Especially in the life insurance policy.
Be the beneficiary on something else. I don't know. I just can't get life insurance for whatever reason. That's my toxic trait.
Ornella said, I was my father's only son. When he passed away, there was nothing left to me. It still bothers me at times. And I'm sure like that has to be rough.
And that's the whole thing. Like, your question was generational wealth, right? The whole thing about accumulating anything generationally is that you actually have to hold it for a generation, right? Same thing with the long-term investing and all that stuff. Like, think about it. If you have a life insurance policy, let's say you got 100,000, die, your child or whoever next to kin gets 100,000, that already propels them. Ultimately, especially if you have children, you're teaching them that stuff. They have a life insurance policy when they become an adult or whatever. A lot of people have it through like their employer, but
yeah,
you can add on, and it's always best to go at this stuff like when you're young, especially for the larger policies, because they have to do like health screens and stuff like that. You don't wait till you're older. And actually, I was talking to somebody where I used to live, my neighbor, his dad, and he was talking to me about becoming like an actuary. Basically, what they do is calculate risk for things like insurance, because when they look at it, they actually weigh a lot of factors. And for Black men in particular, our rates are actually not very good because our life expectancy is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, we're expected to live a shorter amount of time, which means that they would ultimately have to pay out, which means that we're gonna have to pay more. So why not start earlier in your 20s, early 30s, so that you can kind of try to lock yourself into that rate, so that when you get 60 years old, they don't increase your, you know what I mean, the whole thing, where you gotta now pay 7 times as much, or wait until that point, and you got, ailments, and you know what I mean, you're sick, and they're just gonna charge you something crazy to get a policy. So if you have it now, hold on to it, and then just consider, whatever you're teaching your kids later on, just tell them like, look, this is going to happen, and this is how you use it, and also like educate them on how to set that up. So that's one component of it to me. And then I don't know if you're going to go down this road of other like assets in terms of like real estate and stuff like that. It ties into generational wealth, but that's part of my plan too.
Yeah, I'd rather buy land than have an insurance policy. I'd rather y'all have a good college fund, go to college, use it now. Don't wait till I'm dead now. Don't wait till I'm dead. You can have it all now, and we can build, and we can put it in a pot together. What is that? what is that called? A
Trust.
is it not a trust fund, but where the whole is it? No, what is it called? Oh, it's at the tip of my tongue. Where the like not a trust fund, but it's like the whole family and it stays in the bloodline.
The trust.
Is
I
it?
mean,
There's
there are different
Inheritance?
there's different types of trusts, but like, yeah, I mean, that's like there's like
Yeah, that's
revocable and irrevocable trusts, where basically everything gets locked in, and the idea is this is just me from the way I understand it. I haven't set mine up yet, but it's the idea of controlling everything but owning nothing. Like
yes.
if you get sued or something like
Yes.
they're not going to sue you personally. Like everything goes through the trust, and that's like people set it up as like a whole triangle type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like it's the trust, and then it's like whatever business you own, whatever properties you got, all underneath the trust, and
Yeah.
nobody really owns it, so you
right.
like the
Yeah.
family can kind of just use it. But it
Yeah. And you
also
can build into it and yeah.
protects
See,
from
there's so many other avenues that I'm just so more towards the end of our life. Shit.
yeah. I mean that'll stop your kids from doing something stupid with the money too. Like if they're tied into
Very
that trust,
true.
they can't just like run
There
off
you
with the bag.
go.
Very true.
Or marry somebody that you don't want them to. Like, there's a lot of stipulations with a lot of those, like, really wealthy families that are written into that
yeah.
trust. Like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
control it. So, I
Huh?
don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, anybody else want to add before we wrap the show up?
Yeah. So think
Disregard
you a broke bitch,
females
Tommy.
acquire currency.
Yeah, I don't know
What?
either one I said. All right. Thank you everybody who came. Appreciate y'all so much. We will see you all next week. Next week's episode is going to be what's popping. So
What is
more
that about,
details,
Tommy?
don't worry about it. You'll find out later on. So
Do I have to be
peace,
there?
chicken grease, and all that other good shit. Later.